Hello everyone, this is an introduction to cybersecurity. The intent of this YouTube video is to educate you on the topic of cybersecurity. That includes what it is, why it's important, as well as some facts and preventative measures that you as an individual can take to prevent yourself from falling victim to a cybercrime. What is cybersecurity? The term cybersecurity references the processes and measures taken in order to protect networks, devices, programs, and data from cyber attacks, damage, or unauthorized access. There are three distinct reasons in which cybercrimes are committed. The first is for financial gain. Attackers who commit crimes for financial gain typically target organizations. However, that's not always the case. They can use different tactics to breach data and obtain personal information to commit identity theft, or they can even use a type of cyber attack that has a financial demand attached to it. The second reason in which cybercrimes are committed are in order to make a political or social point. This is usually referred to as hacktivism, a hacker, essentially, who is an activist. These hackers try to access information that can damage their intended target. And the third main reason in which cybercrimes are committed is simply for the intellectual challenge. This is when someone is simply hacking for the challenge and the adrenaline rush of breaking into a network, although this can also lead to an interest to make money from their skill. Why is cybersecurity necessary? Here are a few facts for you. Every year, there are 1.5 million cyber attacks. If you break that down, that's 4,000 attacks every day. 170 attacks per hour, or 3 attacks every minute. Just in 2014, 47% of adults in America had their personal information stolen by hackers. This was primarily due to data breaches at large companies. Having a presence online puts you at risk to fall victim to a cyber attack. Based on a global study conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, you are probably more likely to get your email hacked than your home broken into. The study showed that digital theft affects between 1 and 17% of the online population, while physical crime rates are typically below 5%. Malware, one of the most common and successful cyber attack methods, involves socially engineered malware. Malware is a software that is intended to damage or completely disable computers and their operating systems. This is software such as viruses or ransomware. Have you ever been surfing the web and seen an antivirus alert pop up on your screen? If you said yes, you probably just had a close call with a type of Trojan horse malware. Trojan horse is a malicious program designed to look like a legitimate program, but once you install it, it executes its malicious function. Hackers use this method because it can be so effective. If you fall victim to a malware attack, your information can be in serious jeopardy, because it can do things such as completely take control of your machine or monitor your actions and your keystrokes. It can also be secretly sending all of your confidential information from your computer to the hackers. Hackers can use devious ways to try to get malware onto your computer. However, ultimately it requires that you take action and install the malware onto your computer. For example, the antivirus alert I mentioned earlier. If you were to download that file, you would have infected your computer with the Trojan horse malware. Viruses are also a very well-known type of malware, and is one of the most common. It's a malicious code that once in your computer can execute itself and then spreads by infecting other programs or files on your computer. Ransomware is a type of malware that has come into public light as of recently. This is designed to infect someone's computer system and encrypt the information. The cybercriminals then demand that you pay a ransom in order for your files to get decrypted and returned to you. In most cases, the criminal want you to pay in the form of Bitcoin, which is a digital currency and is typically used because it is exchanged anonymously. Therefore, you could not know the criminal's identity. Identity theft. Identity theft is a crime in which criminals wrongfully obtain and use another individual's personal information, typically for financial gain. In terms of cybercrime, these criminals access personal information in multiple ways. This could be through data breaches, Trojan horses, or simply phishing emails. With the rapid expansion of computer use, it's no wonder why so many people fall victim to identity theft. There are some states that have actually created their own legislation on identity theft, while others have simply modified existing laws and haven't really done much with it. However, most of the time, this type of computer crime falls under federal jurisdiction due to the involvement of financial institutions or simply because the crime happened across state lines. Let's go over some statistics on the scope of identity theft. Recently, the 2017 Identity Fraud Study was released by Javelin Strategy and Research. This study showed that $16 billion was stolen from 15.4 million consumers in the United States just in 2016. This was 16% more victims over 2015. The study also found that consumers who are digitally connected are at a higher risk, but these individuals detect fraud quicker than those consumers who are offline. Digitally connected consumers are those who frequently shop online and share their activity via social media. Their shopping trends make them 30% more likely to be a fraud victim. However, 78% of these victims detected fraud within a week of it occurring. Although offline consumers are exposed to less risk, they incur higher losses than other fraud victims, as it takes, on average, 40+ days to detect fraud. Connecticut and identity theft. The state of Connecticut currently ranks as the 5th most vulnerable state in the United States for identity theft and has the 2nd highest identity theft complaint rate. One factor of this is due to the average amount of credit cards that residents in the state have. Connecticut residents have an average of 2.56 open credit cards. This ranking makes it the 4th highest rate in the nation. Another large contributing factor to Connecticut's ranking as a vulnerable state is that residents in Connecticut are some of the wealthiest. Just over 47% of Connecticut residents have an average household income of around $75,000 per year. Phishing. Phishing has become a large threat within the past few years, especially because the hackers' attempts to gain information can be very deceptive to those who are being targeted. Phishing is a process in which a hacker attempts to get a user to give them their personal information, such as their social security number, credit card information, or anything that they can use to access resources or commit identity theft. The word phishing originated sometime around 1996 by hackers that were stealing AOL accounts and passwords. It was a play on words, using the sport of phishing as an analogy. The hackers were using emails as lures, setting hooks to fish for passwords for financial information from the sea of internet users. The most common way to fish is doing so via email. What they'll do is send out an email that looks like it's coming from a well-known company. It will typically ask for your personal information, account number, or your password. This happens a lot where the attempts come from companies and websites that you don't even have an account with. If you click on this email, you are either brought over to a fake website where you're prompted to provide sensitive information, or you end up downloading malware onto your computer. Social media has recently become a hotspot for hackers. Social media phishing attacks jumped by a massive 500% in the 4th quarter of 2016. Hackers will use multiple ways to entice people into forfeiting personal information to them. One common way is doing so through Facebook, as 22% of phishing scams on the web target this specific social media platform. Hackers will clone a targeted user's Facebook page and send friend requests to that person's friends list. After the request is accepted, the hacker will then send the person messages to try to get the user to reveal sensitive information. They can also do this to extort money from contacts, scam you, collect information that can be used for a malicious personal attack, and spread malware. Another way hackers target individuals on social media is through fake links. They may post things like interesting sounding articles, promotional offers, or giveaways. Once you click on the link, you will be directed to a website where you're typically required to enter some kind of information in order to view or claim your prize. Preventative measures. Minimize the risk. Choose strong passwords and keep them safe. We use passwords for virtually everything: our email, online banking, online shopping, even when ordering flowers online. Strong passwords should be a minimum of 8 characters, which should include a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. When selecting your password, don't use anything similar to your login name or your personal information such as your last name. If you write down your passwords, keep them in a safe place and try not to use the same password for every service that you use. You should change your password on a regular basis, at least every 90 days. If you notice suspicious activity on one of your online accounts, one of the first steps you should take is to change your password. Protect your computer with security software. There are several types of security software that you should have just for basic online security. This includes firewall and antivirus programs. Firewalls are typically your computer's first line of defense, as it controls who and what can communicate with your computer online. The next line of defense is the antivirus software, which monitors all online activities, including email messages and online web browsing, and protects your computer from viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and other types of malicious programs. Newer versions of antivirus software also protect from spyware and other programs such as adware. Security software gives you more control while protecting you from online threats. Protect your personal information. Typically, when we are online and want to take advantage of an online service, we have to provide personal information in order to handle billing and shipping of purchased goods. Most of the time, it's nearly impossible not to provide any personal information. Here are some ways in which we can keep you safe online. Keep an eye out for fake emails. When receiving a fraudulent email, you'll notice that there is usually poor grammar, misspellings, and weird phrases. The website addresses attached to it will have a strange extension, and the sender's email address is typically odd as well. These messages usually have a call to action associated with it, urging you to act quickly or something bad will happen. Don't respond to email addresses that ask for personal information. Real, legitimate companies will not use email messages to ask for your personal information. When in doubt, contact the company via phone or by typing in the company web address into your browser. Do not click on the links in these messages, as they may direct you to a fake, malicious website. Guard your email address. Hackers sometimes will send millions of messages to email addresses that may or may not exist. They do so in hopes to find a potential victim. If you respond to one of these messages, or even download the images in it, it ensures that you will be added to their list of active email addresses so that they can send you more of the same types of messages in the future. Pay attention to privacy policies. It's important that you understand how an organization or company might collect and use your personal information before you share it with them. I hope that you enjoyed this video. On the following slides, you will find all the resources used to construct this video. Thank you.